UFC 323 is not only the last pay-per-view of 2025, it might be the last pay-per-view ever. The UFC is done with pay-per-views and numbered events will now be free on Paramount Plus. This is a spectacular fight card. It is the last major event of this year, so let's go ahead and break it down. My name is Angelo. This is We Want Picks, and I'm going to break down every single fight from UFC 323. Before we dive in, let's take a look at all the fights coming up. The UFC announced a couple of major jump-off points in 2026. Obviously, we have UFC 323 closing out this year's numbered events. Right after that, we jump to a very solid fight night that could dictate a title shot at flyweight. And then we have the two major events jumping off in 2026. 2026 is going to start with two numbered events back-to-back. We have UFC 324. Right after that, UFC 325. And those cards were not announced without controversy. All of these announcements came on Thanksgiving Day, and there's a lot to break down there, which we have already done. But before we move on to the next slide, do me a favor, go to the website, WeWantPicks.com. I already have bets for UFC 324. We already have bets on the board because those fights were announced and immediately the lines went up. You can check out every pick, every bet, every tool, not just for UFC 323, but as I mentioned, far out into the future, 324, 325, WeWantPicks.com. Just click Become a Member at the top. This video is not going to be loaded with ads. Instead, what I'm going to ask you to do is click subscribe 2 times. That's it. That ain't a big deal. Right here on We Want Picks, click subscribe because I will be breaking down fights every single week, no matter what. There is no such things as a break for a big man. Every Sunday, you will get a video exactly like this one, breaking down whatever the next card is, even if that next card is a little ways out. I have another channel called Bad Takes. Josh Thompson and I break down everything MMA. It's not a picks channel. We're not saying this fighter wins, here's your bet. What it is an opinion channel. That's why it's called Bad Takes. We broke down all the announcements, the UFC 324 and the UFC 325 announcements, and the controversy that came with them. People are up in arms over Arman not getting a title shot in lightweight. People are up in arms over Diego Lopez skipping ahead of Lerone Murphy, jumping right over Movsar Evloev for a rematch against Alexander Volkanovski. Click subscribe on that channel. If I remember, I'll do one of those fancy button things up top here. But if you just go to the We Want Picks YouTube channel, you'll see the Bad Takes channel there as well. Subscribe over there. We're breaking down all sorts of the latest topics and information and random opinion pieces. It's a ton of fun to do those videos, so click subscribe there. That's the last promo you're going to get from me, boys. Let's see if it works. If it doesn't work, we're going back to pushing premium. Click subscribe a couple times. I appreciate every last one of you. And finally, we got 2 vlogs left on the year. We have the UFC 323 vlog, which I am filming right now. And then we have the holiday vlog. We always film a vlog during the holiday break. Why not? Some extra content for the boys. If you want to send something for the vlog, send it to We Want Picks, P.O. Box 406, Prosper, Texas, 75078. The last vlog, somebody sent the recipe, and we made it. If you want to send a recipe, I will cook the shit out of it. Let's have some fun. Send something, P.O. Box, Prosper, Texas. Well, 406, Prosper, Texas, 75078. Let's go ahead and break down this entire fight card. It's a very good fight card. We have a lot of fun fights top to bottom, and we've got a lot of line movement. I broke down this card last week, and since then we have some new odds for fights that didn't have odds, and we have picked sides. We have a couple of odds that widened, a couple that tightened, and I'll address all of them here. These odds widened. Marion Santos is now a much larger favorite than he was just 1 week ago. We got Muhammad Naimov taking on Marion Santos to open up. This is the official fight order to open up the UFC 323 fight card. Muhammad Naimov, as we all know, pretty well-rounded guy. He is going to prefer to strike, but he does have wrestling if he needs it. He's fast, he's athletic, he's flashy. He plots forward, he throws in combinations, he closes the distance, then he clinches up. He is very tough, he's very durable, he's very well-rounded, and he does have wins at this level. The problem is he's not dangerous, not even a tiny bit dangerous. He's going to work his way to a win, but what he's not going to do is chase a finish. He is coming off that decision over Bogdan Grad. He's taking on Marion Santos. This guy is big, he is powerful, and he's a very clean striker. The takedown defense is solid. He's got plenty of patience. You can see the numbers here. While he has more significant strikes landed per minute than Muhammad Naimov, he is still kind of low volume. That's because he picks his shots really well. He has power in both his hands and his feet, and he does a really good job defending takedowns. No pitter-patter nonsense. He will focus on the takedown. He will defend it. He will keep the fight standing. He is coming off that decision win over Sadiq Youssef. Muhammad Naimov is a good fighter. He's got wins at this level. Some of those wins are pretty quality. The problem is he has no sense of urgency. He's never looking for a finish. He's just trying to get to the final bell, and he's just trying to win a minute here, win a minute there. That is not conducive of exciting fights, and it's also not really conducive of clear outcomes. This guy losing split decisions in this fight or other fights would not be a surprise to anybody because he doesn't do anything to push it over the top. I think Marion sets a better pace. I think he gets in Muhammad's face. And I think the optics of him moving forward, him trying to do something while Muhammad's just trying to slow the pace, maybe squeaking a takedown, are going to work for him. Marion Santos is the pick. The odds are widening. I don't have round lines yet for this fight. I'm sure it's going to be a 2.5. I'm going to like the over because they're both pretty durable. Neither one of them are wild killers. Obviously, the upside for a finish will be on the Marion Santos side, but Naimov's tough. I'm hoping that as Marion becomes a bigger and bigger favorite, the under on the round line will get juiced or at least have some money come in on it. So the over could be worth $1 or $2. Then we have the biggest favorite on the card, at least as of now, and I can't imagine this is going to change. We have Mansur Abdul-Malik taking on Antonio Trocoli, Mackenzie Dern's ex-husband. I don't know if they were married or if they were just close to it. This guy stinks. That's why these odds are what they are. We broke down this fight card last week. We did not have odds yet. I expected odds to look something like this. I'm surprised we didn't just add another 0 to Mansur Abdul-Malik. This guy's a high-level collegiate wrestler. He's got power in his hands. He'll shoot takedowns. He'll throw you in the air. He'll knock you out. He'll do whatever he wants to do, basically. He is coming off of that fight with Cody Brundage that turned into a no contest. That's because there was an illegal headbutt or accidental headbutt. They scored that round. They went to the judges' scorecards. Mansur won that fight, and then Cody's team protested with the Georgia Athletic Commission saying, what the hell was that? He was illegally headbutt. And then we went to the scorecards anyway, and the Athletic Commission said, you're right. We're not allowed to score rounds that don't complete, so they ruled it a no contest. He's taking on Antonio Trocoli. His biggest accomplishment in life is getting with Mackenzie Dern. And that's not a terrible accomplishment. That's a solid accomplishment, and I get it. He got a little taste of the good stuff, and then his fighting started to absolutely suck. All of his energy, his manliness, his aura went down through the pee hole, and now it's gone because this guy sucks now. And at one point in time, he was a decent fighter, but now he officially sucks. He can be knocked out. He can be caught in nonsense. His takedowns suck. His cardio kind of sucks. Like, he's just not good anymore. There was a point in time where he was good, and then Mackenzie Dern sucked it out of him, literally, and now he stinks. And just got submitted by Tresean Gore. The guy stinks. Mansur Abdul-Malik may not be the absolute killer we thought he was. The fact that he went to a decision, essentially, with Cody Brundage. There was a finish, but you can't count the headbutt. And Cody, I like Cody. Cody has been on our show. Unbelievably likable guy. He's funny. He's just got positive energy. He's not known for his durability. So the fact that this hugely hyped D1 wrestler with insane power in his hands and athleticism and speed ended up in a decision in a very close fight that a lot of people thought Cody was winning tells you he's not necessarily the killer that we thought he was. But even if he is 1/100th of the killer we thought he was, he's going to beat and finish Antonio Trocoli. Mansur Abdul-Malik is the pick. I mean, it's not worth parlaying at -1,000, but maybe somehow these odds tighten, but I severely doubt it. Then we have Ibo Aslan taking on Iwo Baraniewski. Iwo Baraniewski is the only UFC debut on this card, and he started as a slight favorite, and these odds are widening. He's becoming a bigger and bigger favorite as the days count down, and lucky for me and lucky for you, I placed a bet on Iwo a while ago, and these were not the odds. We got much better odds on him. If you are a premium member at the website, you got a push notification on your phone when we place the bet. And if you like the bet, you hop aboard. You put it down, but at least you beat the line moving if you did like it. We got Ibo Aslan. This guy is all power. He's a heavy-handed striker. He can knock you out. He doesn't even need the full-blown throw from his hips to knock you out. And short hook can get it done. He's not really looking to wrestle. He'll occasionally sneak in a body lock or a trip, and then he'll tee off if he ends up on the ground. Everything he does is with intent. He's trying to knock you out in the feet. He's trying to finish you on the ground. He is coming off that decision loss to Billy Elikana, where they just straight up stared at each other for 15 minutes and did absolutely nothing in that fight. He's taking on Iwo Baraniewski. This guy's a UFC debut, and he only has 6 professional fights under his belt, which is always a little risky. So now we're getting in on -185, almost 2-to-1 favorite odds. That can be risky because We haven't really seen a ton out of him. But what I have seen, this guy can wrestle. This guy can strike. He's got big lunging power. His takedowns are well-timed. He's active, and he can take the fight anywhere he needs to. He's pretty young. He's 27 years old. He's very early in his MMA career, but outside of just tightening up the techniques he already has, there's not a glaring gap in his skills. He's got cardio. He's got wrestling. He's got striking. He's got jiu-jitsu. He can do all the things. Therefore, I am picking him to win. Ibo Aslan could obviously knock out Iwo. He can knock out a horse if he wanted to, but he's not a well-rounded guy. He's just chasing power, relying on just strength and physicality. And we saw that in his last fight. Billy Elicano was like, I don't care. Throw what you're going to throw. It doesn't matter to me. And then Ibo is just standing there, waiting, not really getting off, not doing much. And then we're not going to get that here because Ibo's going to move forward. I expect him to shoot a couple of takedowns. I expect him to push the pace. Ibo's going to slow down. His cardio kind of stinks. I imagine he might be frozen, stuck in the mud, not knowing if a strike is coming or a takedown's coming. And as long as Ibo is not shocked by the bright lights of the UFC, he should get it done. We threw a half a unit on him. We got him at minus 140. Now, obviously, he's creeping well past that. So he's still going to be the pick, but at a certain point, the risk isn't worth the payout if he's going to be a 2.5 or 3-1 favorite as a UFC debut. Then we have Edson Barboza taking on Jalin Turner. Your eyes are not deceiving you, but Edson's might be because one of them is running away from his face. The droopy eye has been there for a very long time, but for some reason, going into his last fight, there was all sorts of controversy. I'm hearing rumors there's something wrong with Edson's eye. Yeah, no shit. A rumor? Look at him. There's been something going on with that guy's eye. It's not a rumor. Look at it. Look at it. Doesn't affect him. At least it hasn't recently. He did just lose his last fight, but relatively competitive against Shakar Close. Edson Barboza has been in the UFC for what feels like 25 years, and he has been on the right side of an insane amount of highlights. We have highlights from Edson Barboza all the way back to the Spike TV days of the UFC. This guy can strike, he can grapple. He is basically everything that Charles Oliveira is, but he didn't quite get to the belt. He's got phenomenal striking. He's got phenomenal jiu-jitsu. He can do it all. He can tie it together. He's fast. He's powerful. He's clean. He just wasn't able to achieve everything that his talent said he should. He's taking on Jalin Turner. Jalin Turner's a good boxer. He comes forward. He's got great range management. This guy's a ridiculous 6'3" at this weight class. And while he is skinny, he's not like my leg's going to snap in half if I kick you too hard skinny. He can manage range. He can outbox you. He can land head kicks. He can snatch up a submission if he needs to. 3 of his last 5 wins are by submission. He also is a bit of a mental midget. And no offense if you are a little person watching this. I'm not talking about his stature. I'm just talking about his mental ability. This guy lost a couple of high-level fights and said, I'm done. I'm leaving. I'm out of here. And he left. Very Jimmy Crute style left. He took his ball and he went home. And then while he was home, he was like, oh, fuck, now what do I do? What do I do now? I'm a fighter and I'm only 30. What the hell do I do with the rest of my freaking life? So now here he is and he's back. A couple of tricky things to break down here. First of all, these odds are widening. Jalin is becoming a bigger and bigger favorite. And you know what? If I didn't see Jalin Turner throw a crybaby fit and then quit the sport because he lost a couple of fights, I would agree with all of it. Of course, he's the best. He's tall as shit. He's a very good striker. He can find a submission. He's a good fighter. And he should win this fight. But knowing he full-blown retired, he threw a temper tantrum and he retired. And now he's back. Why is he back? Is he back because, all right, listen, I shouldn't have retired. That was stupid. I was just in my feels. I lost a big fight. Not a big deal. Great. If that's the case, he's the pick. Did he come back because, oh, shit, I have bills to pay. I'm not an accountant, so there's not just a random paycheck showing up every other Friday. I have to get into a cage and punch somebody in the mouth to make a paycheck. Maybe he's got a gym. Maybe he's doing privates. I don't know. I don't know his personal life. I do know that he left the sport. And he's a very good guy. He's a very talented guy. And when he retired after his last loss, I sat in this chair in the recap video saying, no, you're 30 years old. You are still very, very, very good. Do not retire. That is stupid. And hopefully that's where we're at. I'm going to pick Jalin Turner here because at this point in their careers, I think he's the better fighter. He's very long. He uses range really well. Edson Barboza's slowing down a little bit. Jalin Turner should absolutely win this fight, and therefore he is going to be the pick. I just need him to get through this fight, get this win, shake it all off, be like, yeah, dude, my bad. Listen, I lost a couple of fights. It's been a while. I was in my feels. It happens to all of us, literally all of us. You've been in your feels before you leave some angry bullshit comment, and I get in mine. Jalin Turner's going to be the pick. Let's just hope he's come back for the right reasons and he's fully focused and this isn't a cash grab, which I don't think it is. All right, if I thought it was a cash grab, I wouldn't pick him. Jalin Turner's the pick. I'm rooting for him. I want him to be here. I want him to do well. He's so young. He's so talented. He is going to be the pick. And then we have Marvin Vettori taking on Bruno Ferreira. When I last broke down this fight, these odds were dead even. It was -110, and society had not picked a winner. Nobody had picked a winner. And now here we are. Marvin Vettori is the slight favorite. Just a couple of bucks came in on his side, edged it over, and that aligns with what I think here. I picked Marvin Vettori last time. I'm picking him this time. Marvin Vettori is known as a grappler, but lately he has just been a striker, and they made his face out of the same stuff they made the Terminator out of. You're not doing shit to this guy's head. You can peel the skin back, but it's just metal and robot eyes. You're not going to do shit to him. And that's how he fights. He moves forward. He strikes. You hit him. It literally doesn't matter if you hit him. Nothing happens. He doesn't even swell. Nothing happens if you hit this dude in the face. And that's what he has been doing. He started his career as a grappler. He realized, strikes don't matter to me. And that's how he lives his life now. He moves forward. He is a busy striker. He's cleaning up the technique. He is a high-level guy who has been fighting the top 10 in this division for about 6 years now. And now he's getting a young buck in Bruno Ferreira. And I understand Bruno's actually older than Marvin Vettori, but you get what I'm saying. Marvin Vettori has been fighting the top 5 in the UFC for a very long time. Bruno Ferreira has not. He just beat Jackson McVeigh. These guys are not on the same level as far as competition is concerned, but Bruno Ferreira is a very good fighter. He's a powerful striker. He's light on his feet. He's constantly bouncing in and out. He throws heavy. He chills on the toes. That allows him to jump in, land a huge strike, and jump right back out. He also has very high-level judo. He can toss you if you end up in a clinch. On the ground, he's got great grappling. He doesn't go to it as plan A, but it is certainly there for a plan B. He just submitted the incredible Jackson McVeigh. Marvin Vettori is on a 3-fight skid. But let's look at those people. Let's look at who he lost to. I mean, he's losing to literally some of the best fighters on the planet. So yes, he's on a 3-fight skid. Rumors were in his last fight, his shoulder was blown out, or 2 fights ago, his shoulder was blown out. This is a major step down in competition for Marvin Vettori. And I'm not saying Bruno stinks. I picked Bruno to beat RoboCop a few years ago. I think Bruno is very good. I think Bruno is very dangerous. It's just a major step down because Bruno Ferreira is not a top 5 or a top 10 middleweight on planet Earth. And that's who Marvin Vettori has been fighting. Bruno Ferreira is fast, he hits hard, and he can toss you to the ground. He also has no cardio. So is he going to come in here? Is he going to land clean early on Marvin Vettori? Probably. Is it going to matter? No, of course not. Of course not. Kelvin Gastelum looks at Marvin Vettori getting hit, and he's like, Jesus Christ, how does that guy take these shots? So I don't see a big Bruno strike doing anything to Marvin Vettori. I also don't think Bruno's going to be able to toss Marvin Vettori to the ground. And if he does, he's not going to have the cardio to do anything real with it. So Marvin Vettori is going to be the pick here. I think Marvin gets it done. I think he weathers whatever storm, and I think he wins a decision. I even bet on the round over. It was -140. We threw a half a unit on that because I do think this ends up going to a decision. So let's go ahead and get those odds before they end up being juiced. Then we have Ziam taking on Nazim Sadykhov. These odds have tightened quite a bit. Nazim Sadykhov was a pretty considerable underdog just last week, and now it's tightening, and I wouldn't be surprised if we end up even or if Nazim full-blown flips to the favorite. This is an interesting fight. Full disclosure, I have never picked a Ziam fight correctly. I always underestimate him. I always think everybody else will beat him because he's just that French savant, take my time kind of guy. He's a long, rangy striker. He works well in the clinch. He manages range. He's got solid leg kicks. When he decides to close the distance, he'll get to a clinch. In there, he'll work some elbows. He's a technical fighter. He does avoid risks. He's got a couple of finishes, but you got to look at who he's finishing. Those are people who can be finished. He is coming off that pretty stereotypical Ziam fight where he landed 34 strikes in a 15-minute fight, but he did have 4 takedowns. He's taking on Nazim Sadykhov, a solid kickboxer. He's got speed. He's got power. He can be reckless, but when he's not being reckless, he takes his time and he stays very technical. He's a slick striker. He can transition to the wrestling if he needs to, and he does a great job reading the room and reading the situations. He will work in takedowns against strikers, and he will strike with grapplers. He is coming off that insane fight with Nicholas Mata where he was almost knocked out. He survives, and then he put out Nicholas Mata. That was an all-time, minute exchange? One of the best we've ever seen. Insanely exciting. I've seen Nazim in trouble and survive. I've seen Nazim put a beating on people, and I think Nazim wins this fight. Again, I have not picked the Ziam fight correctly. I don't know why. I'm not a huge fan of his. I just look at him. I say he's a little soft. He's a little slow. He's boring. He's got that French Savate style. But I'm taking a step back. I'm looking at it objectively. I'm just looking at the skills. I'm ignoring all those other things. And I'm getting to the same conclusion. I have gotten to the same conclusion. This guy is sneaking out wins that he shouldn't necessarily be getting. He is a bit boring. He is that French Savate, I don't want to engage kind of style, and that's not going to work for him here. He did just beat Mike Davis, and Mike Davis was his big hype prospect. Don't forget, that was the fight card where all of the American fighters were in a locker room that they just freshly painted, and every single one of them was like, yeah, we were high on paint fumes. We all had headaches. We all felt sick, and Mike Davis was pulling guard, scooting his ass. And he still almost broke Ziam's leg in 2 parts. Nazim's the pick. I bet on him. We got him at much better odds than this. I'm hoping I finally pick a Ziam fight correctly. Then we got Maycee Barber taking on Karine Silva. And this is another interesting fight because Maycee Barber has had some highs and lows ever since she got the melons attached to her body. She's had a couple of medical issues. And maybe it's related, maybe it's not. You go against God. God is like, you know what? We're going to make you kind of pretty. You're going to be in great shape. You're going to have fight skills, and you're going to be like generally pretty well-rounded human in life. And she's like, yeah, but I want bigger boobs. And she threw them on there, and then God's like, guess what? You're in the hospital. She was in the hospital multiple times last year for extended periods of time. She has had quite a few medical issues. First of all, she had a seizure right before her last fight. She was in the locker room, about to walk out, had a full-blown seizure. They canceled the main event. Before that, she spent 9 days in the hospital for some undisclosed illness. So she's got a lot of medical shit going on. But if we eliminate that from the equation, let's assume she is healthy and all these medical nuances and everything that's happened don't matter, right? That was one period in time. She paid her dues. She's healthy now. She has been forgiven from the heavens, and she no longer will be riddled with injury. And if we look at it that way, she's skilled. She's skilled. She's a good, clean striker. She can work in takedowns if she needs to. She's a problem for a lot of people because of the activity, because of the versatility, because she will walk you down. She also has a knack for winning very close decisions. Judges love the style, and I think it's because she is moving forward. She is landing clean. She doesn't really wear damage that badly, and she's always doing something. She is taking on Karine Silva. This is not an easy fight because Karine Silva is a powerful grappler. She is constantly working for a submission, both on top or even if she's off her back. She has a bunch of wins, and all of them but one are by submission or stoppage. She's got ground and pound. She's got submissions. All those wins are on the ground. If she can get you to the ground, you are in quite a bit of trouble. She'll lay down strikes on top. Once you look to defend or roll through, she'll go ahead and find a submission. She'll throw a flurry of punches on the feet, body lock you, drag you to the ground. She is coming off the decision win over Diony Barboza where she didn't land as many strikes, and she was taken down 3 times, but she still got it done. I don't know what version of Maycee Barber we're going to get. Are we going to get the healthy one that moves forward and stays in your face and wins close decisions? Or are we going to get the unhealthy one? Are we going to get one that's kind of rushing her way back because she has been out for a while and she's itching to fight and she wants to get in there? I don't know what we're going to get. I have to assume she's healthy. She has to go through medical clearances to be approved to even fight. The Athletic Commission requires information. She has to pass medical tests, then get licensed by the commission. A doctor reviews it, and they said, okay, she is fit to fight. Then, at the weigh-ins, they do another once-over. The weigh-in check is nothing. They do another once-over, and she's good. Now, she cleared all that stuff last time and still had a seizure in the locker room, but we assume that was weight cut related. So, Maycee Barber, again, assuming healthy, should win this fight. She's the much more well-rounded fighter. She's the better striker between the two. She's the more athletic between the two. She is the higher level fighter between the two. And it really just comes down to, will she be able to defend these takedowns or will she not? And if she can defend these takedowns, she can keep the fight on the feet. She can style on Karine Silva and she wins. So Maycee Barber is the pick. I hope she's healthy. Not for a pick or a bet. I just hope she's healthy. She's young. She's fun to watch. She's dedicated her life to this. So let's hope she's healthy so she can live out the rest of her career and not have to retire early because of some nonsense. So I'll be rooting for Maycee. I hope she wins. I hope she's healthy. And, fingers crossed we get a fun, exciting fight here. This is a fight where the over 2.5 probably going to make a lot of sense. I don't see Maycee getting finished. I understand how dangerous Karine is, but I don't see Maycee getting finished, and she's certainly not going to finish Karine Silva. Over 2.5 here makes a lot of sense. As of right now, watching or filming this video, it's like minus 210. That's going to be minus 400 come fight night. So if you agree with that, go ahead and jump on it before those odds go absolutely ballistic. Then we have what will be the most exciting, what will be one of the faster, and what will be a crazy back and forth fight. We got Terrance McKinney taking on Chris Duncan. Two guys who will absolutely get after it with varying degrees of durability. These odds have tightened. Terrance McKinney was a larger underdog just last week. It is tightening. This will not flip to Terrance McKinney being a favorite, but it might just get tighter and tighter because people are recognizing, like, dude, Terrance McKinney is dangerous as hell, especially early, and Chris Duncan gets fucked up. This dude gets, his face gets mangled. He gets dropped. He gets almost finished all the time. He's just insanely durable. Terrance McKinney is a high-level wrestler that has great striking, great submissions, and for 2 minutes, literally might be the most talented fighter on the planet. For that first 2 minutes, he might be one of the best fighters in the UFC. He gets after it quick. He's got great wrestling, great submissions, incredible striking. The problem is he's not durable and his cardio fades. He just smoked Vyacheslav Borshev in his last fight. He's taking on Chris Duncan, a heavy-handed guy, tough as absolute nails, who is never out of a fight. This guy gets dropped in almost every single fight, and then he recovers and he moves forward and he breaks people. He is not somebody you're just going to get out of there. His striking is pretty accurate. He moves forward. He can grapple. He has 14 takedowns in his 7 UFC fights, but he can struggle with control and takedown defense. He did just beat Mateusz Rebecki, where I think it was a very close fight. I think the damage was the difference. Mateusz Rebecki wears damage like an absolute lunatic, and Chris Duncan just does not. This is another fight, very similar to the Firas Ziam fight. I don't pick Chris Duncan fights correctly. I just don't. Because I look at his actual skills and I'm like, he's good, but he's not great. He's not the most powerful striker. He's not the most accurate striker. His wrestling's not that good. But what I don't factor in enough is just his ridiculous durability and his will to win. Chris Duncan is not going to quit. He's just not going to quit. And literally, to beat him, you have to just choke him unconscious or knock him out cold. Because if he's got any life left in his body, he's just going to keep moving, keep coming forward. And that's what makes this pick so tricky, because I've never been more sure of anything. For the first 2 minutes of this fight, Terrance McKinney is going to beat the absolute piss out of Chris Duncan. He is going to beat the living shit out of Chris Duncan for 2 minutes. What happens after that? I don't know. Does Chris survive and take over? That wouldn't be crazy. Does Terrance finish Chris Duncan? That wouldn't be crazy. I think the only crazy outcome would be Terrance McKinney winning a decision. That's the only outcome that would make no sense for anybody. I am going to pick Chris Duncan here. No, we're not doing that. I'm going to stick with Terrance McKinney. I picked him last time. I'm going to pick him this time. The reality is he's just so damn dangerous early. He's so dangerous early. I'm going to pick him because Terrance McKinney can get this fight to the ground. And if he is just a tiny bit more conditioned, he can get the fight to the ground, save some energy, find a finish a little bit later. So I'm going to pick Terrance McKinney. Don't do anything with that information. These odds aren't good enough to bet on him. There is too much downside. He could absolutely get freaking finished here. I think Terrance McKinney's the better fighter. And I can't just pick Chris Duncan because he's durable. So I'm going with Terrance McKinney. If he gets smoked, I will not be surprised, and neither should you. Then we have the featured prelim of the evening. What a poor business decision this was. This was such a bad business decision by the UFC, to the point where I think they are purposely trying to tank this event. The way the featured prelim works is it's the last free fight. This fight is the last free fight. I think it'll be on ESPN or ESPN2. It's the last free fight broadcast to the world. It's supposed to be the most exciting fight because you watch it and you get all hyped up and you're like, you know what? Fuck it. I will pay $80, $80 freaking dollars to watch the main card for UFC 323. And instead of putting Terrance McKinney and Chris Duncan in this slot, they put Grant Dawson, basically a wet diaper, and Manuel Torres. Manuel's exciting. Grant Dawson is the human equivalent of watching a snail cross a highway. 9 lanes. We're just going to watch that thing slug its way across. I don't know why this is I genuinely think the UFC is trying to get people to get up, walk away, not order this pay-per-view, so that when they get to 2026, they can be like, look how many people watch UFC 324 versus UFC 323, because showing everybody a Grant Dawson fight and then asking for $80 to see more fights is the worst business decision I have ever seen in my entire life. We got Grant Dawson. He's a grappler. He averages almost 4 takedowns per fight. His ground game is very good. He's got relentless pressure. He's got great control. The striking absolutely sucks. It's genuinely bad. But the clear advantage is the wrestling, is the grappling, and he is a smart enough human being to know that that is his clear advantage, so he will stick to that. He is coming off that decision win, shocker, over Diego Ferreira, where he landed the most amount of significant strikes he ever landed in his UFC career. And he still had 11 minutes of control time. He is taking on Manuel Torres, well-rounded guy. He's got dangerous striking, dangerous grappling. The striking is not very technical, but he will blast knees from the clinch. He really loves throwing head kicks. He'll blast your leg. He is long, he is skinny, and he does a really good job using that length. The knees are coming from far away. On the ground, he's looking for power guillotines, darces. I'm getting choked up just thinking about the fact that I have to watch. I just choked down vomit, knowing I have to watch a Grant Dawson fight in a few days. That's what that sound was. The vomit was coming up, and I was like, no, this is your job. Dial it in. So I choked it down. I did that for you. Manuel Torres, dangerous as shit. He just knocked out a typically pretty durable Drew Dober. Grant Dawson, if you haven't surmised yet, objectively the most boring fighter on the UFC roster. I challenge you. You could pick women. I challenge you to name somebody more boring than Grant Dawson. And people love to complain about the women's fights or the Dagestanis. I would rather jerk off with sandpaper than watch a Grant Dawson fight. When his walkouts start, I say you get up, you call your mother, and you check in. Just check in on your family, because you're 100% going to have 15 full minutes of nothing. There's just nothing going on in Grant Dawson. You have 15 minutes. Call your loved one. Hey, Ma, how you doing? Oh, really? That bitch did that again? Oh, that's crazy. Oh, my God. Call your mother, check in, tell you love her, and then come back after 17 minutes. That'll get us through the fight. They're not going to do a post-fight interview because who cares? And then the main card will start. Just do that, because this fight's going to be boring as hell. Unfortunately, I think Grant Dawson wins. Grant Dawson is a good fighter. All my railroading is the actual entertainment value, not his skills. His skills are there. He clearly is good enough at the one thing he does to win fights, because he just continues to win fights. The only really loss that we saw was when Bobby Green landed a flicker jab that knocked him stupid. Grant Dawson should win this fight. Grant Dawson is going to be the pick because he should win this fight. I expect him to get the takedowns, and I expect him to stay safe. He's very well trained. He's a very well-trained fighter. He's at a great gym. He's got great training partners. He's got great jiu-jitsu, great wrestling. He's a good fighter. But Jesus Christ, is this guy boring. Then we have the promo. Go to the URL. Use the link. Sign up. Make a deposit. We send you $50 as a thank you. It's affiliate marketing. That's all it is. You use the link. You sign up. They thank us with a couple of bucks. I thank you with a couple of bucks. Nice even exchange going on there. Use the URL. Click the link. Sign up. Make your deposit. Do all those things. And we'll go ahead and we'll get you squared away. Here's a look at the cards coming up. I think we all on Thanksgiving, and if you're not in America, whatever random Thursday that was, were surprised to hear some of these announcements. The UFC announced UFC 324 and the main event for UFC 325. They announced a whole bunch of fights. I think 12 fights in total were announced between those two cards. Some of them more controversial than others, but all of them exciting. I am very excited to get over this ESPN hump and get into the Paramount Plus era. I am excited to see what the production brings. I'm excited to see what the fights look like. We have a new start time. Pay-per-views, or numbered events now that pay-per-views have gone away, are starting a full hour earlier. And for somebody with young children, I absolutely love that. How many times have you seen me film a recap video in this chair blinking like I'm a drug addict because my eyes are bone dry? So to take an hour off of that time, great news for the big man. I am looking forward to all of that. I also already have bets. We have already placed bets for UFC 324 and UFC 325. And they're on the website. If you go to WeWantPicks.com, right at the top, you click Become a Member. You'll have access to every pick, every bet, every tool. We have an artificial intelligence. We have tools that predict fights for you. We have tools that simulate the fights and give you the outputs. We have tools that build fantasy lineups for you. It is all on the website for freaking $10. And you can never be too prepared. UFC 324, UFC 325 are after the jump, but we have a tape index so you can get ahead of your tape study. You can get ahead of your picks, get ahead of your bets. We have bets on the board, and there are definitely odds available for those fights. Why wait? Why wait for the line movement? Why wait till those odds are long gone? Jump on them now. Get ahead of it. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. It's objectively the greatest offering this space has ever seen. And then I'm going to ask you to go ahead and click subscribe. We have another channel called Bad Takes. It's myself, Josh Thompson, famous for, he's good looking. Don't tell him I told you that. And he's the only person that ever knocked out Nate Diaz. Him and I talk everything MMA. Sometimes we'll break down fights. Other times we'll break down some breaking news or some gossip or some controversy. The channel's called Bad Takes. Hopefully I remembered to do the thing above here. I don't think I did. Find it and subscribe over there, because as more and more announcements come out and there's more and more controversy, we're going to break that all down. It's not picks. It's not bets. It's just talking fights. Former fighter and then tall, handsome, beautiful Big Ange. Let's go ahead and break down this main card. This is a good fight card. I think UFC 323 is a great pay-per-view. $80. I think these fights will deliver. And we're going to open up with Jan Blachowicz taking on Bogdan Guskov. And this is a good fight. This is another fight where the odds have full-blown flipped. Jan was an underdog. Now he's a solid locked-in favorite here. So these odds have full-blown flipped, and obviously people are leaning experience versus just youth, because there is almost a 10-year age gap between the two of them. Jan Blachowicz, former light heavyweight champion of the world. He's had a couple of fights since then have not gone as planned, but he's a striker. He's got the Polish power. He hits incredibly hard, solid wrestling. He's very well-rounded. You don't achieve what he achieved, and you don't have this level of stay at 42 years old by not being good at everything. In the UFC, his record is 12-8-1. He has wins over Jared Cannonier, Jacare Souza, Luke Rockhold, Israel Adesanya. He is coming off that close loss to Carlos Ulberg, but the reality is, I thought he won that fight. That felt like a bad decision, and he had a lot of early leg kicks. He's taking on Bogdan Guskov. They dipped this guy in wax. They pulled him out. They went whap, and they ripped every piece of hair off of his body. There's not a single hair on this gentleman's body, which makes him silky smooth and slippery as shit. Good luck guillotining this dude. Good luck with that. He is also heavy-handed. He likes to come forward. He throws big. He mixes things up. His striking can be fast, and he does have some very real power, but he keeps his hands low. The footwork is decent. He throws in combinations. If he does not get an early knockout, or if he does not have enough success striking, he'll try to get you to the cage, try to drag you to the ground. He has patience and control on the ground. He is coming off that big knockout win over Nikita Krylov, where it was a monster right that got it done. I thought, when I broke this, that's a Chael Sonnen impression. I thought when this was dead even odds, or, slightly even, but Bogdan was the slight favorite, I thought what was going to happen is people were going to look at 42 years old versus 33 years old, see that Jan has lost, 3 in a row, or whatever the hell it is, and then just be done. And I thought Bogdan would become a bigger and bigger favorite, but it seems that logic has prevailed and the money's coming in on Jan. Because if you look at the recent losses, a draw with Ankalaev, who was a world champion, a split decision loss to Alex Pereira, who's arguably one of the better champions the UFC has had, and then now another questionable decision loss. He's got 3 losses in a row. 2 of them are to former world champions. You could argue he won both of those. And the third one was a bad decision to the guy with the longest active win streak in this weight class. Jan Blachowicz is better than his recent record. He is defying the odds with his age. He hits hard. He is a gamer. Bogdan Guskov also hits hard. He is a gamer, but he's not the better fighter. So I'll take the guy that is basically an older version. They're very similar fighters, except Jan's a little older. He's a little more experienced. He's not chinny. If I've seen him be chinny, then I would have a very different outcome here because Bogdan hits like a freight train, and at 42 years old, that could be a problem. But as of now, Jan Blachowicz's chin is holding up. So I'm going to pick Jan. But to bet on him at minus 145 at 42 years old at this weight class against a guy that hits as hard as Bogdan Guskov would be a poor financial decision. Do not do that shit. Don't do it. I'm pausing so that you can let that Don't bet on Jan Blachowicz. Okay, that's sunk in. Let's move on. Then we have Henry Cejudo taking on Peyton Talbot. This is an interesting fight, and there are 2 schools of thought here. One is Henry Cejudo's old and washed, and Peyton gets it done. The other is we watch Peyton Talbot get ragdolled by an old-ass Hani Barcelos, and Henry Cejudo's an Olympic gold medalist. So yeah, he's going to ragdoll the dude. Those are both very logical points to make. And you could defend either one of those outcomes to the death. And you wouldn't necessarily be wrong. At least not until fight night when you literally would be wrong. Henry Cejudo, former Olympic gold medalist. Former 2-division UFC champion, both 125 and 135 pounds. This guy is busy as hell. He's adopted the karate style striking. He pops in and out. He works in takedowns. He does all the things. But prime Henry Cejudo and today's version of Henry Cejudo are not the same guy. Prime Henry Cejudo, before he took 3 years off in what he thought was a Mexican standoff contract negotiation, but what it ended up being is like the UFC doesn't give a fuck and they'll just move on. That version, the prime one, was incredible. And him versus Peyton Talbot wouldn't even be a twinkle in anybody's eye. At that point, Peyton Talbot was still dressed in full rainbow, banging it out at the clubs. Now, Peyton Talbot's in the UFC. He's humongous for this weight class, and he's fast, he's athletic, he's a flashy striker, he's got plenty of movement. And now, all of a sudden, Peyton Talbot is fighting former 2-division world champion, former Olympic gold medalist, and he's almost a 3-1 favorite. And that is the world we live in. The world we live in is your favorite fighter gets a little older, and then the UFC brings in some sassy twink to beat him. That's where we're at. We just saw that with Michael Morales, and we're about to see it with Peyton Talbot. As I mentioned, there are 2 different logical conclusions to draw here. The first is Henry Cejudo is old, he's washed, he's not who he used to be, he doesn't wrestle anymore. So he is going to get bullied, pushed around, and beat by the much larger, much younger, much faster Peyton Talbot. The second logical conclusion you could draw is Hani Barcelos just literally took down Peyton Talbot at will, made him look stupid as hell. Henry Cejudo is an Olympic gold medalist and smart. Henry Cejudo is a high IQ fighter. He's a great coach. He saw the Hani Barcelos fight. We saw it. He saw it. Everybody knows the only way for Henry to beat Peyton Talbot is to take him down. Those are the 2 conclusions you can draw. And while I would love to be correct, I would love for Henry Cejudo to come forward and to get the takedowns and to make this look like the Hani Barcelos fight. I would love that. I'm a huge Henry Cejudo fan. I read his book after he won the Olympics, long before he was ever considering going to the UFC. I've been following his career for a very, very long time. I'm a lifelong wrestler. So yeah, I followed Henry Cejudo's career. He was a big underdog going into the Olympics. He made that happen. Came to the UFC, 2-division world champion. The king of cringe, Triple C. I loved all of it. But I'm not going to be right. I'm going to be very disappointed, and we likely see him retire. The problem is he gave up the best 3 years of his entire life when he was sitting out thinking he was negotiating with the UFC. Peyton Talbot is too big, too athletic, and he learned too many lessons from the Hani fight. Because we saw some wrestling improvements in his last fight. And Henry is old. And I understand he's an Olympic gold medalist. That was like 15 years ago. That was a ridiculous. Was it the 2004 Olympics? Were those the ones? Maybe 2008? That was an insanely long time ago. No, it couldn't have been. All right, here we go. Maybe it was 2012. What Olympics did Henry Cejudo win? 2008. We're almost on 18 years ago. This guy was an Olympic gold medalist. 18 years ago. He aged out. Peyton Talbot's the pick. Then we have Brandon Moreno taking on Tatsuro Taira. I don't know. The 3-snap was, thanks for everything, Julie Newmar. Let me know if you get that reference. I doubt you do. Let me know if you get that reference. Bonus points from the big man if you get the thanks for everything, Julie Newmar reference. No way you do. A lot of you are too young to get that reference. We got Brandon Moreno taking on Tatsuro Taira. Last time I broke this down, I said, guys, I'm going to pick Brandon Moreno here, and I'm going to need some support because I am 100% sure that the Tatsuro Taira fans are going to be coming for my head. And you guys showed up. You showed up. That last video I did of this card has like 19,000 views, a ridiculous amount of comments, and a lot of the comments are, I am with you on the Brandon Moreno pick, and I didn't get any of the Tatsuro Taira hate I thought I was going to get. So either we're healing as a people, or people are looking at this and being like, Taira might not be who we thought he was. We got Brandon Moreno, former flyweight world champion. He was one of the division's best and arguably still is. He's an absolute dog. He's a ton of fun to watch. He's very tough. He's got a great chin. He sets a nonstop pace. He's very unorthodox, like a little lurchy, a little lungy, but that awkward style works well for him. He's going to continue to move forward. He's going to stay busy no matter what is happening. He is coming off that decision win over the very overrated Steve Erceg. He's taking on Tatsuro Taira. At only 25 years old, he has established himself as one of the best flyweights on the planet. He's highly ranked. He's a guy that has a ton of experience under his belt. Style-wise, he's a patient striker. The power is, there's not really any power there, but he's a patient striker who's going to move forward and get the grappling going. He doesn't have the best takedowns in the world, but on the ground, he's got phenomenal control. He will drag you. He will creep up the body, advance positions. He does a really good job of keeping you where he wants you. He is coming off of that win over Hyung-Sung Park where he knocked him down, he took him down, and then he ultimately submitted him. This is a good matchup. This fight's a ton of fun. When I first broke this down, it was dead even. It was -110, and I picked Brandon Moreno just to find out he is now a dog. So I'm going to keep an eye on this. Let's see how much of a dog he becomes because maybe there's some affordability there, and we'll go ahead and throw a bet on him at, if we can get to +150, let's do it. We're not going to get that far. I bet he maxes out at +120. But I think Brandon Moreno wins this fight. I think he's the far more experienced fighter. I think he's the far more well-rounded fighter. I think the striking is going to be a problem for Tatsuro Taira. I don't think Taira's takedowns are good enough to get Brandon Moreno to the ground. And if they do get him to the ground, Brandon scrambles. He never sits still. He gets up. He moves. He makes stuff happen. I think Brandon Moreno beats Tatsuro Taira here. I think it's a close fight. I think it's a competitive fight. I wish this was a fight night main event because I wish this was 5 rounds instead of 3. But I think Brandon Moreno gets it done. I watched Alex Perez, who is very good, outstrike Tatsuro Taira. We saw it happen. We all saw it with our own eyes. The only reason Tatsuro Taira won that fight is because Alex Perez's knee blew out. Brandon Moreno is the pick. I think he gets it done. I am surprised money is coming in on Taira to this effect. I thought it would stay around even, or Brandon would be a favorite. So let the money come in. Let's just sit on the website. I have a tool called the line movement tracker. It'll show you the opening odds, the current odds, how that translates to win probability, and the line movement. Let's keep an eye on that. If you go to WeWantPicks.com, it's under tools. We'll keep an eye on that because if Brandon becomes a bigger and bigger dog, we're going to go ahead and bet on it. But we got to wait for the inflection point, right? We want to get as most value as we possibly can. If it creeps all the way up, and then as soon as it comes down one tick, bing, bang, place the bet. Brandon Moreno is going to be the pick. This is a really, really, really fun fight that does have divisional implications. Because right after that fight is the actual title in that division being defended. We have Alexandre Pantoja taking on Joshua Van. Josh Van sprung onto the scene, got a couple of good wins, had one really bad knockout loss. a couple of more wins, and here he is in a title shot at 24 years old. Joshua Van's rise to the title shows you what being exciting and what being just a well-rounded fighter who's not afraid to take chances or step up on short notice can get you. Alexandre Pantoja, one of the best flyweights ever. If Demetrius Johnson didn't have the all-time record, if he wasn't fighting who he was fighting 15 years ago, Alexandre Pantoja would be the best flyweight ever. The only reason he's not is because of freaking Demetrius Johnson and the unreasonable amount of title wins he has. So Pantoja will never have that many title wins. It's honestly probably impossible at this point. Nobody will ever beat Demetrius Johnson as far as just most amount of title wins at these weight classes. Because at these weight classes, the little guy weight classes, your tenure is not nearly as long. You start to slow down and everybody else gets faster. But Alexandre Pantoja is one of the best to do it at this weight class. He comes forward, he's an aggressive striker, he sets a pace, he gets in your face, and then he starts grappling. He's got great takedowns, great jiu-jitsu. People have not been able, at least recently, to stop those takedowns. Now, if you wrestle him, you could have some success, but his offensive wrestling, his ability to drag you to the ground and submit you is next level. He just did it to Kai Kara France. He just did it before that to Kai Asakura. Alexandre Pantoja is a guy that's going to get in your face and make it a really, really tough night for you. But Joshua Van should be prepared. Since his first ever fight in the UFC, he fought wrestlers. His first fight, Zalgaz Zumagulov on short notice. He was a dog. He defended the takedowns, was insanely comfortable, let his hands go. Cody Durden, also a wrestler, let his hands go. Joshua Van has fought his fair share of wrestlers. His takedown defense, his scramble skills are solid. And at 24 years old, he is improving at an incredible rate. His pocket striking is absolutely incredible. He does get hit a shit ton. Like, he gets hit a lot, but he doesn't really cut. He doesn't bleed. He just eats shots. And at 24 years old, you can do that. You can just eat shots. He is coming off of the win over Brandon Royval, which earned him this title shot, where they landed a ridiculous combined 419 significant strikes to set an all-time UFC record. I'm going to glaze Van. I have been glazing him. I think he's very good. And this isn't like an Asian fetish or like something with weirdo mustaches. This is because he's a good fighter. His pocket striking is phenomenal. His composure at 24 years old is incredible. His ability to not get frustrated, to defend takedowns and just continue to fight is all great. He lands almost 9 significant strikes per minute, but he is hit with almost 7. But he's young. He doesn't bleed. He doesn't swell. He can just be in those firefights. I just don't think he wins this fight, though. I think Alexandre Pantoja is too good of a wrestler, too experienced, has too much pressure. He's got old man strength. I think all of that is just going to be too much too soon for Josh Van. I think Pantoja wins this fight. I think these odds, frankly, are a bit of a discount. With that being said, I do not think that this is going to be Joshua Van's only shot at the title. I think he loses this fight. I think he retools, and I think he ends up back in a title fight in a year, maybe 2 max. Joshua Van's very good. It's just a little too much too soon. Pantoja should get this done. Then we have the main event of the evening. We have a rematch between Merab Dvalishvili and Petr Yan. This fight happened years ago. And in that fight, Merab Dvalishvili won very convincingly. This guy had 11 takedowns, 7 minutes of control. He landed 2.5 more strikes than Petr Yan did. But we've got the rematch. And for some reason, I thought in my last video, I was going to get hate for the Brandon Moreno pick. And all the Tyra fans were going to be foaming at the mouth. But no, it's the Petr Yan fans. I picked Merab last time. I'm picking him this time. Nothing's changed. Nothing. Let me put the question to you. If you are a foaming at the mouth Petr Yan fan who is convinced Merab is going to lose here, what has changed since the first fight? And you know me, if you've watched these videos for long enough, you know that when I break down rematches, I ignore the first fight. Unless it happened in the last year or 8 months, I ignore the first fight. People evolve over time. It's a ridiculous thing to do to say, 5 years ago. No. But genuinely, what has changed since their first fight 2.5 years ago that Petr Yan is going to win now? What has changed? Merab Dvalishvili dominated Petr Yan the first time. He had 11 takedowns. He had 7 minutes of control time. He landed 2.5 times more strikes. What has changed? If I'm looking at Merab, I'll tell you what's changed. He's leveled up to GOAT status. His insane pace, his insane cardio, his ability to just move forward literally no matter what. And now he's finding finishes and he's got power. Merab Dvalishvili, if I'm looking at the two of them, he has leveled up. He's the one improving at a far more rapid pace. I don't know how Petr Yan wins this fight. Obviously, he's a very technical striker. He's one of the cleanest kickboxers this division has ever seen. Certainly right now, he's one of the best kickboxers in the division. His takedown defense is an incredible 85%, but it failed him the first time they fought. And I know people are like, well, he was injured. Was he, though? Like, was he? I don't think he beat Sean. I mean, I do think he beat Sean O'Malley, but that was a wildly competitive fight. And if you watch that fight, Petr Yan's getting dotted up. I'm just perplexed by the foaming at the mouth rabidness of people insisting Petr Yan dominates here. So if you're a Petr Yan guy, not like, oh, I like him, I hope he wins. No, if you that's fine. That's fair. He's an exciting guy, and Petr Yan's fun to watch. He's very skilled. He's very talented. This is not dragging his skills. This is just not understanding the people who are 100% convinced that he wins this fight. How? Please, detail, without being a disrespectful little pussy. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have really punched. I punched the P on that. My bad. Without being nasty, why do you think Petr Yan wins this fight, and what has changed since the first one? I'm on the Merab side. I think the insane pressure, the insane cardio, all the things that have him nicknamed the Machine have him win this fight. The fact that he's only minus 450 is a bit surprising. I guess there's respect on the Yan side at how good he is, but I saw this fight. I saw him not defend the takedowns. I know for a fact that even if things don't go well for Merab early, he's going to continue to move forward. He's going to continue to shoot takedowns. He's going to continue to get them. Merab Dvalishvili is about to set a record for having 4 title defenses in 1 year, 1 calendar year. Good for him. He went from boring, nobody likes him, the UFC hates him, to a great friend in that he waited for Aljo to not be champion, to now a fan favorite because of the fight style. I'll be rooting for Merab. I think Merab wins this fight. And guys, that is the breakdown. I kept the promo short in this video, so do me a favor. Show me it was worth it. The reason there's so many damn promos in the video, first of all, we don't do mid-roll YouTube ads, okay? So you're welcome. Second of all, the reason there's so many promos is because they work. We have well over 4,000 people at WeWantPicks.com that have chosen to become premium members. And that's because we promo the shit out of it. And I know if you watch these videos every single Sunday, you might be like, yeah, Ange, I know. A fight simulator, artificial intelligence, I know. But you're assuming there's no new people watching these videos. Every week, we're growing at a rate of 1,000 new subscribers a month. So there's always new people watching. So we got to remind the people, go to the website. I toned it down on this video because what I want people to do instead is click subscribe. So I can't spend 40 minutes asking you to go to the website and ask you. No, we're sticking to one theme here. And the one theme in this video is subscribe. Subscribe here, subscribe on Bad Takes. It costs you nothing. It's one click of the button. It's super free and it's very beneficial to us. So do me a favor, click subscribe. I promise you, nobody works harder in this space, and you will see that. That will be clear as day between 2025 and 2026 jump, because there will be new videos exactly like this every single Sunday with the high-level graphics, the full breakdown, and everything else that I am known for. Click subscribe. I appreciate you. And if you want to send something for the vlog, 2 vlogs left on the year. We have the UFC 323 vlog, this event. I'm filming it right now. There's still time if you want to send something in the mail. And then we have a holiday vlog. I told you recipes have been being sent, and the recipes are rock solid. You want to send a recipe? Happy to give it a try. Send it to We Want Picks, P.O. Box 406, Prosper, Texas 75078. Thank you for being here, guys. I'm not going to do the full promo. I'm not doing it. We have a data analyzer. No, I'm just messing with you. Guys, I appreciate you. Genuinely, every last one of you. I am so excited for this card. I am so excited for the cards that they announced in 2026. I'm here for the ride. I hope you are too. Thank you for being here. Genuinely, I appreciate every last one of you.